All right, everybody. Thank you for joining this episode of Locked On Avalanche. And on today's episode, we will be previewing the new Law and Order episode, which features Nathan MacKinnon because apparently he murdered somebody. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. And on today's episode, we will be discussing further. I had honestly no intention on doing this, but it just seems that to be like what people are talking about on Twitter anyway, and that's the Nathan MacKinnon slash. We'll talk about that. We'll touch on Bo Byram, some news coming out for him. We will look at the bottom six struggles that the Avalanche seem to be having as of late. Should they dip into the Eagles pool and bring somebody up, not as a cure, just as to maybe jumpstart something? Is there anybody there that could do that? And of course, we'll look forward to the Avalanche and Red Wings game, which is going to happen tonight. First things first, follow the show on social media outlets. On Twitter, LOPN_Avalanche. On Instagram, Locked On Avalanche. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe and get notified whenever a new show goes live. And thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. All right, Shaggy. We'll start with Bo Byram, and then we'll get to Nathan MacKinnon. I think it was Adrian Dater who put it out there first that he is skating. Now, skating does not mean he is returning tomorrow. Skating means exactly what you think it means. It means he's skating on ice. If you listen to this show, you know where Kyle and I stand on this. Health above anything else. And we would like to see Bo Byram not play the remainder of this year. I think that's still a possibility. And I also have faith in, the Avalanche doctors and staff doctors. And if they genuinely think he's okay, I don't think with the history that he's had, they're going to put him out there any earlier than is necessary. But still, when you see he's skating, you just feel like that's the next step into a return. Mm-hmm. And I just hope it's not this year. And I know that you're with me on that.
Absolutely. Like when it came to like the Matt Calvert situation of him stopping and returning, you were cheering him on like, okay, you can do this. You can do this. Maybe this visor will help. Watching Bo Byram go through this, like when that tweet came out today that Bo Byram's skating, like I think I texted you. I just said, no. Like this is, you're not like, because you don't want him to make that appearance again. You don't want to see him try and come back. You want him to take all the time he possibly needs. And especially when you read that report, I think it was Peter Baugh's report about what Bo was going through and talking about, I don't even think I could do this anymore. Like you don't want to put him back through that again. Like it's okay, Bo, we'll pick you up next year. Like take your time, my friend.
Well, and I don't think, there's anything wrong with skating. I think you do need to do some testing to see what you can and cannot handle. You don't want to go from skating to full-blown practices. And I'm not saying they're doing that. And they don't do that. They have them wear like the non-contact jerseys and stuff like that. Can you make it through just a practice with no contact? How do you feel after that? Do you feel okay? Do you feel like you can maybe take the next step and take some hits? Okay, take some light hits and see what happens after that. How do you feel all along the way? So I feel like this is going to be a process, and I feel like this could be a process that does last the remainder of the season because they're going to do this in incremental steps and then gauge how he feels. They should do this anyway, and gauge how he feels after each small step and really look into, are you feeling 100% comfortable? Is there any discomfort there? And if there is, you scale it back again. It's really the only way you're going to find out how he's really progressing.
The only thing that worries me is the last time that he came back in contact sweater in practice was the same day that McDermott decided to hold fighting practice in the middle of practice. So you're just like, you know what? Let's just not do this
Leave
this
him
time
out
around.
of those, please. Yes, we're not going to include him in that. So, but just something to keep an eye on. In one breath, you're happy that he is back with the team and kind of interacting with guys and skating. On the other, it's like, I want you to be skating for like the next 2 months.
Yeah.
just do that for just skater. It's open ice. It's a free skate for Bo Byram for the next 2 months, and we'll see what happens after that. So if anything new comes out, obviously we'll be talking about that. But what we need to talk about now is Mr. Nathan MacKinnon. And I joked, teasing on the front of the YouTube or for this episode, the beginning of the YouTube stream, that he you would think he murdered somebody. And I don't know if this, well, I do know. I do feel like this is because of it's his name, and people are kind of feeling like he got away with something. The NHL put out a statement saying that they even talked to the ref, and the ref didn't think anything of it, more or less, and they're not going to have any suspension or fine for him for, well, I was going to say for slashing a ref. You're even hearing things online of he didn't hit the ref. I'm not going to confirm or deny that, because it's amazing that we only have one camera angle for this thing, which is above. And when you see him whack the stick, you can't really get a vision or view, like an ice view of where that stick is. Some people are saying it came down on the ice, but between the ref's legs. What, like, I even said yesterday, I think he should have been fined for it, because whether or not you make contact with a ref, intentional or unintentional, it usually gets fined. And you see that in the NFL a lot. You see that in the NBA a lot, when there's like scrums going on and you get like an errant arm that kind of knocks into a ref that's not intentional. Those players still get fined, because whether you meant to or not, you made contact with a ref. I thought that's what was going to happen. But you are seeing people wanting 10, 20 rest of the season suspensions for this, when he clearly was not trying to go after the ref. And if you look at the ref's reaction, how quick Nathan MacKinnon swung that stick, it doesn't look like he really injured that. I mean, if he really made solid contact with a leg, was somebody who does not have any shin pads or anything on. I don't believe that the refs wear those. Maybe they do. It's possible that even if he was wearing them, they're not the same that the players are going to wear.
No.
He's going to go down. He's going to have a different reaction. He's going to be injured from that. And it didn't look like he was. We are making a mountain out of a molehill out of this. And I say that knowing full well he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand.
If this was something he actually did, he would be punished, because that's something you don't play around with. And for the NHL to not come down on him, and that should tell you something, because we have been critical of the NHL all year long, and they handled this one right. Like, we didn't get any suspensions out of the Greenway hit to Darcy and knock him out. We didn't get any suspensions with the Trouba hits to Nathan MacKinnon and concuss him, and there was nothing out of that. So why should Nathan MacKinnon get a suspension for a one camera angle possible CSI Miami super zoom try and figure out the angle? But like, yeah, it's honestly, it's a mountain out of a molehill.
And again, I will say that I do think he should have been fined for it, because if he did make contact with him, you shouldn't be doing that, accidental or not. I think a minor fine was okay. We're gonna do something kind of fun and interesting, and we're gonna go through some Twitter posts on this, and maybe this should be like a reoccurring segment or something like that. I don't know, but to read some of what people are putting out there on this is just is laughable. There's one that I sent to you where the guy, let me bring it up. Oh, and I'm not throwing Twitter handles out there, so don't ask, because I don't want these people getting getting the wrath of the listeners. I said if a Golden Knights player slashed a ref, I would be livid. And this is a Golden Knights fan, clearly. Says if a Golden Knights player slashed a ref, I would be livid. Avs fans don't care what MacKinnon does. They don't. If a Golden Knights player accidentally slashed a ref, you wouldn't be livid.
No.
And that's exactly what Nathan MacKinnon did. He accidentally made contact with a ref. So don't say, you can't phrase it as he intentionally slashed a ref, because he didn't. And if a Golden, and I find it very hard to believe if a Golden Knights fan would be livid at anything any Vegas Golden Knight player did. So,
oh yeah, because the NHL comes down on them real hard.
Oh yes, absolutely. And a lot of these are taken from like a main hockey account will post it, and this is like within the Twitter chain of posts. There's, where was the other one?
There's one that just sings to my heart.
Go ahead.
So once again, MacKinnon gets off with no consequences. Way to go, NHL.
Like, what is this once again thing? It's not like he is like this repeat offender that is egregiously, when he threw a helmet at a guy, I wouldn't have suspended him for that, but they did.
I say the same thing every year when it comes to the Hart conversation, and Nate doesn't win, and I'm like, wow. Once again, Nathan MacKinnon,
yeah,
no consequences. But that's the only thing that he gets slighted for. He's not repeat offender status, for goodness sake. Like, if this was Gabe Landeskog, especially after his year this year, like if somebody said that about Landeskog, I can understand. But Nathan MacKinnon, he plays on the edge, but he doesn't play on that side of the edge.
Right. He does play with an attitude,
but
that's not suspendable just because you have an attitude. One I really like is this guy says, really, he's a premier player with incredible hands, and you think he missed it. His writing is terrible. He's a premier player with incredible hands, and you think he missed the opposing center like an empty net from 3 feet out. I love bringing his skill set into it. Like, because he has such great hands, he shouldn't have missed on his slash. Like, that's to me is hilarious. Like, I applaud that one, because you're giving him credit for being a skilled player, skilled enough where he shouldn't miss an intentional slash on a guy. I love it.
I think the guy was watching Burakovsky.
Oh my God. And here's one. This is a couple tweets in one tweet. And this is by kind of like a prominent person. So you might have seen this one. Well, I say prominent in that he has a lot of followers. He said, so this will be the second time. And then I don't know why he puts it in asterisks this week. I don't know if that's supposed to be quotes or not, but he says this will be the second time this week that MacKinnon does something that would be suspendable for most people, but earns him an aw shucks, I bet you didn't mean it that way. Just be more careful next time. He says, I have no gripe with Nate or Colorado, but that's pretty embarrassing. He goes on to say, so they've confirmed that he's struck the linesman, but aren't going to do anything on the basis of he merely meant to hack the opponent, but two-handed the referee instead. That's brutal. And then you get this, to finish this tweet, you get this doozy. It's arguably more important to punish accidental plays, because that risk forces players to polish reckless habits out of their game. If you don't punish them, they don't have that incentive. And dirtier players get a route of plausible deniability when they do it intentionally. Do you want that to be the NHL? Do you want the NHL to be the league that fines and suspends accidental plays? You really want that? Because that will be every single game and almost every single player. Yeah. Accidents happen on the ice. You know what's an accident? Tripping. A tripping penalty is an accident. Yep. You want to suspend and fine people for tripping penalties now. That's what this guy is telling me. Get out of here with this nonsense. It's an accident. Move on. It was stupid. He should have been fined for it at the least. Move on. We are acting like this guy literally committed on ice murder. Where's our thought process here, people?
That guy must have really good Wi-Fi or data in the bathroom, because that tweet was tweeted right out of his butt.
Oh my God.
Like it makes no sense. Like you can't police the league that way. And even on its face, he did not. And it's not like he's going slapshot on these referees and he's got a vendetta against them. If anybody, that should have been Nas. Nas does have a reason to get upset with a face-off referee because he's getting kicked out of every circle. It's Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Like if this was something that Nas did, you would lean on the side of, he has been kicked out of every face-off dot. He probably got frustrated and took his frustrations out, and then you view it differently. But this is Nathan MacKinnon. He doesn't do that. So you have to, judge it fairly.
Right.
So
right. You're right. You can't lump, this guy wants to lump everything in because he's feeling that the dirtier players will get away with things. So the non-dirty players have to suffer because the dirty players can get away with plausible deniability. Dude, that worked in Independence Day with the with the aliens coming in. It doesn't work in the NHL. Like, that's ridiculous. Like to say that they need to polish reckless habits. Reckless habits, you don't call reckless habits accidents. You call them reckless habits.
Yep.
They're two completely separate things, and he's lumping them in together. It's a dumb tweet. And if some other people have seen this, you know who I'm talking about. I've never, it's not that I follow this guy or anything, but his series of tweets are making the rounds. It's dumb, and I think it was a in the moment tweet that he can't go back on now because it's out there. But to say that you need to be, it's more important to punish accidental plays.
Yeah.
I just banged my desk, and sorry if that blew up people's ears. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Maybe in my life, well, I don't want to say in my life because I've heard a lot of dumb things. This hockey season, I'll say that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Punish accidental plays. Think about that for 1 second. Actually, don't think about it for more than 1 second because you might drive yourself crazy. While you're thinking about that, or not thinking about that, getting it out of your head, let's hear from Built Bar. I have to move on from this because it's driving me crazy. All right. Built Bar. It is the time of the year where we have moved on, just like we've moved on from that tweet. We are moving on from our resolutions, but we can still eat healthy and make Built Bar a part of that, making of that you're eating healthy. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And have you tried the new Built Bar Puffs? If you haven't, you are missing out. They are the first ever protein infused marshmallow protein bar. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They are a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And they come in flavors such as cinnamon churro, coconut, marshmallow, and banana cream pie. All great flavors, all great tasting. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off of your order. Once again, the promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. All right. I think the best thing to happen for everybody, and even Nathan MacKinnon, is just play a game, and they're going to do that against the Red Wings. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we did want to bring up the bottom six for the Avs lately. It's been struggling a little bit. There hasn't been as much consistency as you saw earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And even when the Avs had a great January, you could start to see a little bit of cracks in that bottom six where, because they were winning and they still lost. I mean, they've lost one game. Let's not go crazy. But you can see that. You can see that there's something going on with the bottom six where they haven't been as much as a presence now as they were earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about trades, and we've talked about trades on previous episodes. But we were thinking, should they make a move with the Eagles at all and bring somebody up, maybe just to inject some life into the bottom six. And I'm not talking wholesale changes. I'm talking about maybe a move or two just to give somebody a shot, just to see what you can do. You do that on the defensive end. You've done it
Yep.
when you're moving McDermott in and out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Why not do it on the bottom six on the forward end?
And especially, and with the production that you're getting out of the bottom two lines, if you're bringing out like somebody from Loveland, you're giving somebody an opportunity who wants to be there and wants to shine, and it'll stimulate some of that life on those two lines that have become stale and stagnant when it comes to production. And you have somebody who's wanting to overperform instead of somebody who's just looking for a chance.
Yeah.
It'll shake things up. And if, say, you call up an Eagle and he gets a goal, that kind of makes you have to step up a little bit. Like, okay, the new guy's coming in here, and
Hmm.
this is my spot on line 4, line 3. Like, you got to up your game, and if you
Hmm.
don't, you might go back to Loveland instead.
Yeah. And the guy, when you look at the stats, they're all names that because
Mm-hmm.
they're all guys that have been up once or twice during the season. And again, these are not guys you're looking to bring up to win you games. They're for what you just said. They're getting an opportunity, and sometimes that's all these guys want, and they will put in 110%.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's not to say that the guys that are playing with the Avs right now aren't, but it's just a different demeanor when you have someone who's been, playing in the AHL for most of the season. Every opportunity they get, they're going to try to make the most of it. And
Yep.
like you said, make somebody else get sent down, not
Yep.
them.
Yep.
But, here's the question. Because here's some names, and just going off of stats, and I know it's more than stats. You can bring up guys that are just invigorating and can just, like I said, just give that shot of adrenaline. And it's not just completely based on stats. But when you bring guys up, kind of is
Yep.
when you're looking at AHL guys. And who leads the Eagles right now in scoring is Kiefer Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
35 games played, 22 goals, 20 assists, 42 points. He's been up a handful of times with the Avs. And I think from time to time, he does relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a guy that is going to be a mainstay? Nah, probably not. But for right now, for just bringing him up, and I know things get convoluted with cap
Mm-hmm.
considerations and all that stuff, and we're not looking into that. We're not diving that deep into this with how cap, and I know it comes into play. But is he someone you bring up for a little while and just because he can hang with the NHL guys?
I think just somebody fresh who wants to be there will be very revitalizing to everyone on that line and the line below him. Like Kiefer, yeah, he gets out there and he plays, and what better chance to make a name for yourself, especially with no scoring really happening on lines 3 and 4. Get out there and get an assist, help somebody score, and then you be the reason why that line's starting to pop. Or
Right.
you get a goal yourself, be in the right position, and you score, and then trade deadline's coming up.
Yeah.
If you're not going to get a chance with the Avalanche, somebody's going to see you be able to score, and you're going to be part of a package, and you're going to be used
Hey,
somewhere. That's the same story with Ryan Graves. The Rangers didn't use him, the Avalanche
yeah.
did.
Yeah. To incredible returns too, by the way.
Yes.
So, is there anybody that kind of sticks out to you? Like, hey, give this guy a shot. Bring him up. Give him a shot.
You would like to see Dylan Sakura get up there and actually do something. I hate the thing that really gets under my skin is guys that get in the AHL and do really good, and when they make the show, they turn invisible.
Hmm.
This is a good opportunity for Sakura to get up and do something. I of course, I'm a Sampo Ranta guy. It would
Yeah.
be nice to get him up there and get him going, but Sakura and honestly, Sherwood, Sakura, get both of them up there, get them going, because this is their time to shine. And if it's not now, this is adding to our trade conversation. This is good package pieces.
Yeah. It's so weird. Ranta starting the season up with the Avs, kind of had high expectations for him. And in 35 games with the Eagles. He's only got 13 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't. It's tough to give that guy a shot above so many guys that are above him just in the stats department. And I know that's not all end all be all, but you would think a guy that had made the squad and just wasn't panning out, maybe just needed to go get a little bit more seasoning, would be at least be able to kind of turn the Jets on in the AHL. And it just doesn't seem to be happening right now. I'm not saying that he can't if they keep him around. But he has 2 more points than Alex Newhook did in Alex Newhook's 10 games with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Eesh. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
You can
Now,
also you could put Jason Megna and Mark Kaut out there and say, come on, you guys are almost like getting tenure down there.
yeah,
Do
I know,
something now, or
Cal
you're
is just. I like the guy. He's got he's built for the NHL. Like he has the body
Yeah.
for an NHL. I don't know. It's like when they bring him up, it's like hit or miss on what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I reached out to Dater. I sent Dater a message, and he got back to me because I wanted to know what's going on with Jacob McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about, he's not the type that you're going to hear day in and day out. Like,
Yeah.
Jack Eichel, you heard every inch of what Jack Eichel was doing. McDonald's obviously not in that realm, so you're not going to hear about him as much. You hear about him every once in a while, and then when he's ready to come back, you'll hear about it, obviously. And it's been at least a couple weeks since I heard anything. So I reached out to him and just said, "Have you heard anything on Jacob McDonald?" And he just said he's skating, still no contact. That may change at practice later this week. Jacob McDonald, he is that guy that could just give you a shot in the arm. And I know his natural position is defenseman. I would love to see him on a line with like Logan O'Connor, and that would be your hustle line.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys would never get outworked. So I know we're talking about who's like on the Eagles, and we're talking about Kaut and Ranta and Kiefer Sherwood, and all those guys are nice like additions here and there, kind of exactly what we're talking about. Jacob McDonald, I think he is a guy that, from a locker room standpoint and out on the ice, when guys are on the bench watching their teammates play, and you see him just going a mile a minute, putting in maximum effort, that invigorates a team.
Yeah.
So I know it's a small move, but I'm really looking forward to when Jacob McDonald comes back, because I don't know if he's going to play offense or forward or defense. I would put him in at a forward line, match him up with Logan O'Connor, and let those guys outwork everybody.
And that's the easiest solution. And that's somebody who would love to come back, improve himself, and put himself right back in the lineup. And as a forward, I think he would be really good. If you want to everybody's tired of the tango that we're doing with scratching McDermott, scratching Ryan Murray, and doing that weird healthy scratch game, just put McDonald on that D pair.
Yeah. You can put him anywhere.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I just want him back. I just miss his effort and his effort, hustle and everything.
Yeah.
So, according to Dater, it seems like it could happen soon, not right around the corner, not imminent, like a JT Miller trade that was teased to us. But it seems like it's progressing in the direction of McDonald return, and that's the guy I'm looking forward to return.
Yeah.
Some of these Eagle guys, I don't really anticipate any move like we're talking about, but it would be nice to especially where the Avs are sitting right now. I mean, you have for the league, you're only a point up on Florida.
On Florida, yeah.
For the division, you're up.
Yeah.
Why not bring some of these guys up for a couple games? I mean, if it is doable within the realm of the cap and all that stuff, do it. I know that's kind of like a sticking point, and maybe you can't. But if you can, bring some guys up and let them get some experience, and that can only help you long term.
Not just help you, but show off to the rest of the league when it comes to trading for the piece that you want. Show other owners what you do have in the minors, and really help your trade packages.
All right. We shall see. Keep an eye. But I'll definitely be watching those bottom 6 guys tonight against Detroit. So let's talk about that right after we hear from BetOnline and Rock Auto. But BetOnline, football season is obviously over, but you have other sports such as basketball and our beloved hockey in full steam ahead mode. And for basketball, we have both pro and college hoops available at betonline.net. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, betonline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. It remains the best spot for all the sports scores, podcasts, and news for this season. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your source for obviously the NHL, boxing, and UFC. So head over to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline.net, where the game starts. And rockauto.com. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts that you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brands that their warehouse happens to carry, when you have a computer with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket? Save time and money when using Rock Auto. It's a family-run business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. The prices are reliably low for every customer, so go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, locked on in the How Did You Hear About Us section so they know that we sent you to them. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. You know what I forgot to mention on the talking about Built Bar? You brought it to my attention because I'm not a NASCAR guy. They had a sticker on a NASCAR, right?
They had a whole NASCAR. They had Corey LaJoy.
They were the main sponsor.
They were. It was a blue look just like the Built Bar mix box that you get. Placed 14th, Corey LaJoy. It was the Built Bar car, the Daytona 500.
I mean, it has a nice ring to it. The Built Bar car.
It does.
All right. I don't follow NASCAR, but what's his name? Corey LaJoy?
Corey LaJoy.
That's my man.
Hey.
Let's get him on the show.
Let's do it.
All right. So tonight, always a fun matchup with our old nemesis, the Detroit Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking forward to the first time that these two teams played because the Wings are that team that they are a young, up-and-coming team. They are in the mix right now with wild card, maybe looking in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some wild card aspirations. They got a long road ahead of them. You know, Boston, I think, is like 12 points up on them with games in hand or something like that. So it's not looking like they're going to make the playoffs, but it is an improved season for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking forward to the first game between these two because of that. We had this young upstart team going up against one of the best teams in the league. And like we were saying with teams like Buffalo, you're going to get your best. So they're going to, their metric is going to be how they performed against you. And the first game, as we're like, you got a long way to go, little kid. It was, what was it? 7-2?
It was 7-3, a touchdown to a field goal.
There you go. So the Broncos beat the Lions 7-3 in game number 1. But that's what you get out of these teams. Then you have no idea what you're going to get out of them now. They are just an up and down team. That's the growing pains you're going to go through.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost right at 500. I was looking up their
they're one game over 500.
Right. So they're 23, 22, and 6. And their last 10, they're 5-5.
Yeah.
Like everything about them is 500 hockey. And you don't know what you're going to get. You could get 7-3. You could get 2-1.
Yes.
You have no clue.
And the good thing about where the Avalanche are getting the Wings this time around, they still haven't figured it out. They still haven't put it together. They still haven't, walked away with a 10-game stretch where it's 7-3. They haven't put it together in that aspect. And if we put a touchdown on the last time, we can walk out with a 2 or 3 goal win in this one and really make a statement. This is the last time we see the Wings all year. And then, build on that going into the next games that we got coming up. But this team, the way the Detroit Red Wings are built, once they figure it out and everybody knows how to play with everybody and there's some synergy and cohesion, this is going to be a dangerous team.
Oh, they got guys you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dylan Larkin is legit.
Yes.
He is a difficult guy to scheme against. And there's some grumblings of Hart Trophy candidacy for him. I think it's tough. The days of Taylor Hall getting it when his team is horrible are kind of long gone. You would
Yeah.
think, but he probably he will get some votes. Absolutely,
Yeah.
he is a clear-cut captain of this team. But you want to see some guys up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mo Sider is oh man, like how we gush over Cale Makar. Red Wing fans are doing that for him and Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
They have two insanely talented young guys who are just going to get better and better and better. And watch them now, because how you see them now, you're going to be impressed. And they're just going to keep improving as years go on. Yeah, this is going to be a dangerous team in a year or two, and you'll see glimpses of it. You'll see glimpses of like, oh boy, like when they do that on a regular basis, watch out for the Red Wings. So you could get it in tonight's game. That's just the unfamiliarity, and you don't know what you're going to get from guys as young as they are, but they are impressive players.
Yeah, and you really want to make a statement against a former rival in their arena. What better way to make up for the dismal showings we've honestly seen in the past 2 games than go in there and unleash hell?
Yeah. I get, corporate America runs everything now, but I just hate the name of the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. I mean, we went from the classic Joe, to Little Caesars Arena. It just seems like I'm going to watch like a Pee Wee hockey game. Like,
yeah. Hey, if they're passing out free Italian cheese bread at the door, they might get me.
Oh, I'm there. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Kyle and I will be discussing it tomorrow. My eyes will be fixed on the bottom 6. The Avalanche are winning, and I don't want to make this seem like it's all doom and gloom, but the bottom 6 has got to start playing better.
Yep.
And you heard the comments from Jared Bednar. He feels the same way. So I will be watching them intently tonight.
And bottom 6 and the power play.
Yeah, true. Yep. So and against a team that's up and down like Detroit, you have this is your chance to kind of correct those things and have a good feeling going forward. So we shall see, and we will be talking about them tomorrow and the game as a whole. So for now, thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. And go check out Locked On NHL and make that your second listen of the day. Get caught up on everything going on around the league. For now, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget, punish the accidental plays.